This is Brian Agee with Agee Race Timing. Welcome to part 2 of the training series. In this video, we cover the software. If you need chip timing hardware and missed part 1, I'll link that video in the description below. Use the timestamps below also to skip to any topic that you're most interested in. In my opinion, this software is the most important part of any timing system. Typically with any system, hooking the hardware up is no problem, and you can get that within one day. However, with many systems, it takes many weeks to learn the software, and it's very difficult feeling confident going into your very first race. I've tried to design this software to be as intuitive as I can possibly make it, but also offer every feature I can imagine that a timer would need. This software allows for a 100% open hardware system that has a direct integration with many different hardware companies and websites, including Finish Links, Direct Athletics, Athletic.net or Athletic Live, MileSplit, RunSignUp, Race Roster, Race Entry, and if you're using a different online registration platform, you can easily download a list of participants and import them into the software. The software also integrates with Canon, Nikon, and other WIA-compatible DSLR cameras for automatic photo capture. The software is also TFRS compliant. TFRS is Track and Field Results Reporting System. This is what's used by the NCAA, and many high schools also submit their results to TFRS. And finally, there's a Twilio integration, and for those that are endurance members, they can use that to send instant SMS results, or to send mass messages to everyone, or to individual participants. This is software that I'm constantly refining every time I go out to time a race, or my crews go out to time a race, or of course the hundreds of timers that have used this software for about 15 years now. So I'm confident you'll find this to be very easy, very refined, and very reliable. Let's get started. To open this software, just double click on the icon here on the desktop. Timing a race is naturally going to involve at least 3 different steps. Number 1, creating or importing the race into the software. Number 2, adding or importing the participants for each race. And number 3, timing the race and printing results. Let's do a quick run through of those 3 steps so that you can see them in action, and then we'll take a step back and dive a little deeper into the software. So if you look at the software, you'll see that it's kind of a left to right layout. The first thing we're going to do is create a race, and after that we can open it and time it. And then we have other things that we can do also within the software to access the user's form and reach out to other people, or to customize the software for your own needs. So let's first start by clicking on Create Race. If you click on Create Race, 3 menu options appear. The very first one is New Race. This allows you to create a brand new blank race from scratch where you fill in all the information yourself. And if you've got like a 5K, 10K, or multiple events occurring on race day, you can create one of them, fill all the award categories and everything out. And if the other races are identical or very similar, you can simply hit Duplicate Race, and then that will copy everything to the other events. Then all you got to do is rename the other races and change their distances, and then you have all your races set up. The second option is if you have a high-tech EBT file or a file from MileSplit, Athletic.net, or some Excel or delimited file that has all their events and participants. Probably the most commonly used option, though, is From Account. This is where you can pull your events down from RunSignUp, Race Roster, Race Entry, or TFRS or Direct Athletics. In this example, we're going to pull some races down from RunSignUp. And these are live races that I'm timing actually in a couple weeks. For Race Roster, Race Entry, and Direct Athletics or TFRS, you can go into the settings screen, add your credentials that has access to your event, and from there you can pull all your races in through the menu option you see here. For RunSignUp, the first time you try to access RunSignUp, it will ask you to authorize your account. Click Authorize, and you'll see a message that says ART login successful. You can now close this screen. When you close the screen, you'll be presented with all the races your account has access to. Now, if you don't receive a page that says ART login successful, typically I found that the authorization still went through. When you close the website out, you should see your list of races here. Here, I'm going to pull in the Sylamore 50K and 25K trail runs that I'm timing next weekend. The software is now going to ask you if you would like to go ahead and pull in the participants for the race. This is the Sylamore 50K. And the reason why I was asking you that is because if you're going to do dynamic bib assignment to check in participants when they show up or when they receive their bib number, then normally you don't want to pull in all participants. You only want to pull in the participants that checked in or that received a bib number. However, when I'm first setting up the race, I like to go and pull everybody in just to verify everything pulled in correctly, and so that I can use the Verify Age and Gender feature, which we'll look at next. If you want to do the same, just click Yes. Here, it's going to ask you which bib number you want to start with, unless bib numbers were assigned on RunSignUp. But again, if we're going to use the check-in app to assign bib numbers and to check people in, typically bib numbers are not assigned. However, just so I can verify information, I can make up any bib number because it's going to stay only in the software and not be assigned to RunSignUp, and then I can delete all the participants when I'm done. So here, we're just going to start with bib number 1. You can start with whatever number you want. As it pulls in the next race, it's going to ask you the same question. And again, I'm going to hit yes. But this time I'm going to start with a different number. And now those races have been created in the software and you'll see them appear in the Open Race menu. The Open Race menu groups races automatically by year, with the current year races simply being thrown in the list. As this year rolls around and we start 2027, any race I time this year will be grouped automatically in a 2026 races folder. For example, if I put my mouse over the 2024 and 2023, you'll see all the races that this particular computer has timed. When you hover over a race with your mouse, it'll show you the date, the city it occurred in, and the race director's name. If you right-click on any race, it gives you the option to duplicate that race or delete it. You can also duplicate or delete a race by opening the race. This is simply a shortcut. Let's go ahead and open either of the races I pulled in. The software groups races by date and the city they occurred in. And so here it's giving you access to both because it sees they both occur in the same day and in the same city. So if I click up here, I can easily swap from one race to the other. In this case, I'm going to say view all participants for all races. This gives me every participant, and here I can right-click anywhere on the list and select Verify Age and Gender. When I do this, the software is going to highlight any individual where their first name matches someone else's first name that's already in the system, but that other individual has a different gender. It will also highlight any individual that has an age that's over 100 or less than 2. This hopefully helps capture people that may be registered online incorrectly. So let's see what it found. If we scroll down, we should see highlighted records in orange. So this is Sam. Sam could be a female name, so we're going to skip past this. We're looking for obvious discrepancies. Here's a Taylor. Taylor could be male or female, so we're going to keep going. See another Sam, this time it's a female. And we see a Shannon, which could be male or female, and another Sam, which is a male. Taylor, so the data's looking good. So no occurrences of any problems. If we did see an obvious problem, let's say a Steve that's registered as a female, in today's day and age it can be uncomfortable to ask, so I simply blame it on the software. I may call Steve or email him or text him and say, "Hi Steve, my timing software has indicated there may be an incorrect registration. Can you please verify your age and gender, or whichever field I'm not sure about?" That way I'm blaming on the software is doing its job. Most timers probably don't bother to do this. However, I've been timing long enough that of course you know that if someone registers online incorrectly, they don't know they did it, and therefore when the results are printed and they're in the wrong category, who do they think they're going to blame? They're going to blame someone else besides them. So I like to catch it early and fix it before race day if I can. Of course, if your race does allow non-traditional genders, software can support that as well. The software allows for male, female, or unassigned genders. You can also set up award categories that are for male, female, combined genders, or unassigned genders. Now, typically at this point, once I've verified everything, I would delete all the participants out. So you can either select one, just hold the delete key, or you can select one, scroll down, hold the shift key, and select the last one, which highlights all of them, and then hit the delete button here. And that deletes everyone out of the system. I normally go into race day with no participants in the software. Instead, on race day, the software checks this box for you automatically. They require a bib number. And so then when we use the check-in app to check people in, they receive a bib number on RunSignUp. Of course, they're checked in. And then when I hit sync, it only pulls in the participants that have a bib number on RunSignUp. There's at least a couple benefits with this. Number one, you're not left with a bunch of random bib numbers after the race is over from bib numbers that were assigned to people who never showed up. Number two, the timing software shows how many registered participants are still on the course. And so if you pulled every participant in that registered and 20% of them didn't show up, then your numbers are going to be off. However, if you pull in only those who truly showed up, then you're going to have more accurate numbers that shows, who's finished, who's disqualified, and therefore how many's on the course. So well before race day, one thing you'll typically do is you'll receive a bunch of bibs from wherever you order bibs from, and you're going to attach tags to them, either adhesive tags that go in the back, or if you use our all-weather laminated tags, you simply take a safety pin, blindly grab one or two tags, however many you plan on putting on the participant, attach them to each bib with the hole in the tag and the hole in the bib. Then what I do is I place one bib on top of the antenna at a time, and I'll use this feature that says Program RFID Tags. That will connect your reader. Now you can use this video demo link to get a little bit more in depth of how this feature works. I've got a roll of tags here. I don't have one bib at a time, so you're going to see a handful of tags appear, but I'm going to present a tag, and you'll see that these have already been programmed, and see these are programmed to 479, 482, 480, 481. So these tags I would actually attach to that bib number, 481, 479, and so on. And whenever participants show up to check in, I'm going to physically hand them that bib number. So the runner, of course, wears bib number 481. The tag that's on that bib is programmed to 481. Whenever they run through the read zone, the antennas pick up the EPC, return 481 and the date timestamp to the software, and that's how chip timing works. In today's example, I'm simply going to close this screen out and simply resync the participants and let the software manually assign them a number. I'm going to start at 1. Okay, so now every participant has been pulled in again for the 50K and the 25K, and I started at 1, so it simply incremented from there. And of course, on this screen, if you need to make any changes to any participant, you can double click on them, change their race, change any information you want, and hit save. In this case, I'm going to hit cancel. Let's go ahead and time the race. But before we do, let's actually go to the edit race page, and I'm going to put a short name in so that it just looks a little cleaner. So this is the name that came in from the online registration platform. I'm going to simply do 25K here. And then for the 50K, we're going to swap that to be just 50K. It just looks a little cleaner on the screen, and it looks a little cleaner on the timing window. So now, let's go and click on Time Race. The software is going to ask you which races you want to pull into the timing screen. In almost every case, you're going to say pull all races in. And the reason why is because when you pull all races in, the software will now know which races have started, which races haven't, and which tags should be ignored or should not be ignored. So let's discuss the layout of the timing screen so maybe it doesn't look as busy or as intimidating. There's a lot of useful information here, but you're really only going to interact with a couple things here. First, I'm going to take this orange bar or this yellow bar and I'm going to drag it off to the side just to make the main results view a little bit bigger. So what we have across the top, we have a bib number text box here. This is mostly for manual timing. So let's say a chip goes by and is missed, you can hit the space bar. That is tracked inside the text box. It feeds a new result down to here. You can edit that result, put a bib number, fix the time, do whatever you need. That's how you manually put a time in. Also, pressing the space bar when you don't have any races started and one of these check boxes is checked, that'll start that race. So if I check both races off, if I hit the space bar, it'll start both races at the same time. In fact, I'll show you. There they go. Now I'm going to reset these races back to 0 so I can continue showing you how it works. And I purposely make it a little bit hard by asking questions. Are you sure you want to do this? And I have it to where you have to click yes, no, yes, and all that stuff. Because I don't want someone to mistakenly reset the race and lose all the results without multiple warnings and prompts. Oh, I must have started again by accident. Let me see, start, reset, yes. Okay, so I've got the races back to square one. So again, let's focus on the top. So the top left, that's where your manual entry, hopefully you don't have to do anything. Hopefully you just sit back and watch the system work. But if you need to put a time in, you simply hit the space bar and then you can edit the time. Up here in the middle, this is where, now most people are going to only have one reader. I've got multiple in this computer. So you're going to only probably have one reader in the list. You'll see it say connected, you see here, and you'll see any antennas you've got connected to your reader will light up, letting you know, hey, the reader's reporting back it's got these 3 antennas or 4 antennas connected. And that gives you visual confirmation that all of your cables are good, your antenna appears to be good, the reader's reporting these antennas are connected and working. And so that's what this is simply your list of readers. If you had multiple readers, and by the way, the software will connect to and accept an unlimited number of reads, or at least connect to an unlimited number of readers and accept all those reads with no issue. So if you needed to hook up multiple readers for some reason, which is extremely rare, I don't know that I've ever done it, and we do a lot of races, but there is that capability. If you wanted to hook up and go crazy overboard with antennas and readers and time some huge, humongous, massive event, you can. And so if you do have multiple readers, you can easily enable or disable them on the fly by right-clicking here and going disable, or finding one that's disabled and do enabled. So disabling a reader simply means when I'm timing, don't try to connect to it. Don't bother wasting time. So that's how you can easily enable or disable a reader without having to go to the settings screen. And if you were to bring this screen up before you had your reader powered on, you can get it all powered on, hooked up, and simply hit refresh, and that'll reload the list of readers. Like it's doing now, it's going to reconnect. See that? Okay, so that's your reader list. Over here is your antenna stats. This is going to be total number of reads. So for example, if I start a race here and tell it to start capturing chip finish times. And let me present some tags. You'll see, because I've got just this one antenna hooked up, it's going to show a whole bunch of reads there. Let me read some of these. I've just got random loose blocks of tags, so most of them are not assigned to any numbers that are in these races here, but there's some. And so you'll see the antenna stats over here, and then also you see the tag reads. This is a live view of all the unique EPCs as they're coming across. And what's nice with this is this will also let you open the tag read file. And I've been playing with this race quite a bit today, but this will let you see every time, okay, you started the race at this time, you reset the race, you change the time or whatever. Here's all the EPCs that were read. Was it a chip start or a chip finish? These were some chip starts I was playing with earlier, so that's what the true represents. And so you could actually take this file and replay the entire race. So if I do import, it'll actually replay the entire race with all the tag reads. When I started the race, it'll adjust all the times and do everything. So it's kind of a cool thing. It's kind of an emergency backup. Let's say that you mistakenly clear your results and you wanted to keep those results. Well, then all of the reads and everything's in the tag read file. You can just re-import the file. Because one thing it won't do is it actually won't reset your race. That's one thing I told it not to do. And so, but it will start the race and pull all the reads back in. So that's another good thing about this. So let's say you're a timing company that has multiple timing crews, and you have a timer that makes an accusation that something didn't work right or this or whatever. You could always go look at the tag read file and see exactly what activity they did. Did you start the race late or did you reset it by accident? All that's in here. So the point is the top of the screen here is mostly information only. The activity indicators flashing and letting you know, okay, the readers are getting these tag reads in. So if I didn't have any tags in the area, that would not be flashing, of course. And so that's the activity indicator. But yeah, this is just information only. You don't really have to do anything up here. Over here is your list of all races. This can be an unlimited number of races. If there was more than what the screen could hold, there's a scroll bar that appears. You can scroll through each one of them. And so they're color coded, which means that if it's green, that means that race is accepting finishers. If it's red, even if I start the race, if I don't tell the software that this race is accepting chip starts or chip finishes, then that race is going to be ignoring all tag reads that are occurring. And so if you are timing a race, for example, it's like a time-based race, and at a certain time you got to cut everybody off. There's two ways you can do it. You can simply uncheck this box that says, okay, I'm not accepting any more chip finishes or chip starts or whatever. Another way is you can actually say finish the race, and so that'll stop the clock and everything. Now, there's no real benefit of stopping the clock, by the way. It's just something that I've had people ask for that. It's like an emotional thing, like I want to be able to stop the clock, but there's no benefit. You can simply tell the reader, okay, this race is done. Because when you're done timing, you don't have to stop the clock or do anything. You simply close the screen out. Nothing continues to run in the background, and it's all safe. Now, what you'll notice is if you pull the timing screen back up, the clock is exactly where it left off, like it was running in the background the whole time. But just trust me, it's not, and so there's no real benefit to stopping the clock. Like I said, you can simply, if you want to stop reading for a race, you can simply uncheck capture chip finish. That's what the red means. That's ignoring all tags. If you were capturing chip starts, you'll see that this turns yellow. I wanted to give you some visual confirmation that, okay, when tag reads are happening, that will capture the first time it saw them. And of course, well, actually, it's the last time it saw them as their chip start time. And so if you had someone standing there, let's say that it's a runner that's going to stand there and take pictures of other runners as they're leaving the starting line. And then after everyone leaves, he decides, okay, I'm going to run on through now. Well, if he was picked up a bunch of times as he's taking pictures and walking around, the very last time he leaves the starting line is going to be his chip start time. And so that's what yellow represents. And of course, after everyone has totally left the starting line, you're going to want to check capture chip finish. And you want to uncheck capture chip starts just so the software knows nobody else is going to be starting. If you mistakenly leave this checked, then the software is smart enough to say, okay, well, if you captured their chip starts, if it's been more than a certain number of minutes, and this is it's called an auto finish gap, and so the software will automatically set this number based on what's the distance of the race, but the maximum it tries to do as a default is 10 minutes, but you can make it bigger. So if you're timing a really large race, you can go, hey, if I haven't seen them in over 30 minutes, then assume that they've started and that the next time I see them is a finishing time. So this auto finish gap, you can read more about it by clicking the question mark button here. That represents if I see a tag within the gap, then assume that they're still starting. Like, let's say that they run through, they forget their keys in the car, and a minute later they run back, through the starting line, drop the keys off, and they run through a third time or whatever. Um, the last time, if it's been within this gap time, then treat each one of those as a start. But if they come through again and it's outside the gap, then that means it's a finish or a split. And so you could leave this checked, but the safe thing to do is after everyone's left the starting line, if your captain ship starts, is simply uncheck this. And ideally, you want all your races to be green. And so I'm going to undo finish here so that we can actually see this. So this is the ultimate thing you want for all races, is once everyone's left the starting line, if your captain ship starts. With most races, to be honest, I don't. Most races that most people time are 300 people or less, and so we just do a gun start with a chip finish. When those races begin and the read zone is clear, I simply check capture chip finish. Once the races have started, there's certain things you may need to do. For example, let's say you started because often I will start the race with my phone and not be behind the computer if it's a simple gun start anyways. Um, and so if I start it with my phone, then I will come over here, start the race after everyone's left, and then I'll simply adjust the clock in the software to match my phone. So let's say the race started actually 8 minutes and 22 seconds, and this is a rolling clock because your stopwatch on your phone is going to be rolling also. And so this will be rolling. And so now once these two match, this time here in my phone, I hit save, and then now that time is exactly like I started the race in the software when the actual start happened. And so that's how you adjust the clock here. You can also click on award status, and what this does is let you know. Now, on this race, I just pulled it from RunSignUp. And this race only gives away top overall male and female runners, and so they actually have 2 extra divisions here I need to get rid of. But so most races they're going to have male 10 to 14, 15 to 19 and up, 10-year gaps or 5-year gaps after that typically. And so you'll see all those divisions here, and this will highlight the division green when enough finishers will come in to claim all the awards. And what this does, it gives you as a timer something you can check so that you know when it's safe to print division results or award results, because no more finishers coming in is going to affect it. Unless you're doing, a race where the results are based on chip start time, yes, potential there. But most races, the results are based on gun time. And so this award status allows you to check and see, have enough people come in to claim all the awards. Now, the software is smart enough to know that if only one person's eligible for that award, even though they're giving 3 awards away for that division, if there's only one kid that registered for that division or one person, then when that person comes in, it'll highlight it green saying, okay, nobody else coming in is going to change the results here, so you're safe to print them. So when everything's green, that means you're safe to print results. Also, at the bottom of this award status, this lets you know on a per race basis how many people are still on the course. So at the very top of the screen, you'll see that information here across all races. So across both of these races, there's 430 participants. We've had 36 finishers. Therefore, there's 394 on the course. If you wanted to see that on a per race basis, though, that's down here. So we had 133 participants, 36 finishers, therefore 97 on the course. And if I were to disqualify somebody, disqualify, then let me refresh the stats, and you'll see now that we've got 96 on the course because now one is disqualified. Now, these stats are automatically refreshed whenever you actually view the award status, but they don't refresh on the fly as each finisher comes in because I didn't want to be hammering the computer too much trying to keep too many things updated. And so the way this works is if you were to click on award status, it updates in that moment, and then from then on, if you leave it open, you have to hit refresh when you want to see updated numbers. So that's the award status. If I click on the clock again, we got the print results. This is the only thing I ever print in here is the division results, and I usually I always uncheck bottom fill. Bottom fill means that if you had 30 people registered for that award category, let's say male 20 25 or 24 to 20 20 to 24, then typically you don't want to include every one of them in the printout you're going to give to the person calling awards out. The person calling awards out only needs to see award winners and nobody else. And so bottom fill, what that means is put everybody somewhere. If you uncheck bottom fill, that means the division results is going to be just award winners, and that's it. And so that's typically all I print. And usually what I do is I put QR codes around that take people to the RunSignUp page where they can see the overall results and then photos and all the other stuff. And a lot of timers don't print anything. They just have the QR codes, and then on the RunSignUp page or whatever results platform they're using, you can just see the division results there. Okay, so if we look back here, there's also the finish race button. There's no real benefit for this. It just simply stops the clock, but there's again no benefit because when you're done timing, you can just close the screen out. Also, if you wanted to stop reading for a race, you don't have to stop the clock. You could just simply uncheck capture chip finish. So if this was like a time-based race and after a certain time you had to cut the reader off to make sure no one was picked up, or let's say there's some type of race where it's 30 minutes on and then a 5-minute rest and then 30 minutes on, and you wanted to kind of turn the reader off or not accept reads for a certain race during that 5-minute period or whatever, you could simply uncheck this box, and then whenever you're ready for that 5-minute period to be over, simply check it back, and now the reads will flow back into this race. And so finishing a race doesn't really do anything. It's just something that's been in there. I think people like it for like an emotional reason, like, hey, I want to be able to see the race is finished. But you can simply uncheck this, and that red represents no more reads are coming in. And when the last finishers come in, just simply close the timing screen out, and you're done for the day. And of course, if it's before race day and you're doing all these things to test and to play with the race, and you want to reset everything back to to zero, then you can do. The one benefit there is that you have to go finish race in order to reset a race back to zero. So I'm gonna finish this race, hit yes, and now I can reset the race back to zero, and now it's just back to square one. And so I'll do the same for the 25K. All right, so that is the race menus. I mean, I know I flew through it, but I hope you see that clicking on the clock is first how you start it, and number two, how you access all the menus to print results or to see the award status or to change the time. Okay. And then the main thing though is you have to tell the software, and by the way, if you're doing a chip start, you want to check this before the race starts. That way the people right on the starting line are also going to get a chip start time. And so if you wait till after the race starts and then check it, you're going to miss that 1 second. Now that's not a huge deal because again, their gun time and chip time is going to be so close that it may not matter that much. But typically the process, if you're going to do a chip start, then you want to check this first. It could be 20 minutes later or early, it doesn't matter. Just at some point before the race starts. And then when the race begins, then as soon as they're leaving the starting line, you're picking these people up because you've checked this box. Again, after everyone has left the starting line, it's best to uncheck this and then check that. And that way the software knows to accept chip finishes when they're coming in. Here in the results view, you can right click on someone if there was let me put a time in here. Put a few times actually. So I'll do it manually. I'm just typing in a number and press enter. All right, and so I can right click on this person and change their race if I want to. I can also say, let's say that these two people are friends and they wore each other's bib number. I can highlight both of them by holding the control key and clicking both. You see they kind of turn gray. Do that again. And if I highlight two people, there's an option to swap their bib numbers. And so if these two people mistakenly wore the wrong bibs, I can right click on them and swap their numbers real easy. If I needed to change one of their times, I can double click, and then now I can change the bib number or the time for that particular read. And like I said, if someone didn't wear their tags or was missed for some reason, simply hit the space bar. That captures a new time. And then if I double click on it, I can say, okay, that's bib number 10, and they ran an hour and 12 minutes and 36 seconds, and simply put it in that way. Okay. So that's the results view. And the software will highlight. Yellow represents close finishes. Now, I just scanned a bunch of tags earlier. In fact, if I do it again, red represents these are unassigned. So this bib number 480, that doesn't belong to anyone in the race. So there's no 480 in here. And so that's why it's red. The same way when I hit the space bar, it captures a new time. It's not assigned to anyone, therefore it's red. Yellow represents these times are within a half a second of each other. And so this is more important for cross country where you might have to review close finishes. And so that's what yellow represents. And then green represents that that's an award winner. Now, yellow is going to override green because, again, cross country, place is more important than time. But just be aware that you can, if you needed to see how someone ranked in the division, that's going to be here. If you kind of wanted to know on the fly what someone finished. Now, again, if someone walks over to you, that's over here where someone says, hey, my name's Clay. Can you tell me my results or whatever? Did I win an award? That's under quick results. If you know their bib number, you can just type it in here. Or if you know any part of their name, maybe. So usually what happens is they take their phone out, take a picture, walk away, and thank you. but there is a setting if you wanted it to not show their division ranking. That way, some people, they take a picture and they immediately go over to the awards table and try to demand a award because I got to leave early or something. So there is a way you can turn off their award for age division on all public displays, um, so that people don't do that. So the athlete tab over here, you can right click and on someone and disqualify them. You can change their race. So if someone says, "Hey man, I only ran the 25K or whatever," you can just change it on the fly. Like I said, disqualify them. You can also send them an SMS, a text message if you needed to, and if you're an endurance member. Um, and of course, the software will send results to them the moment they finish if you check this box, if you're an endurance member. And on race day, the software will tell you, hey, this is race day, do you want me to check this for you? Public results, you don't really need to click in here unless you're going to set up like an LED board or a TV that you hook up to the main timing computer to show results in real time. So I'm going to skip over that. Action keys, this is where you're going to go to publish results. That's the main thing I'm doing here is if I hit publish and this race is linked up to race roster, race entry, TFers, or RunSignUp, then if you can click this as often as you want, it'll push up results to their platform. So that's what that does. I don't ever check the boxes under here because if you set up divisions, the award categories on RunSignUp, then they do the job of placing people in the right divisions and the right awards. And so I don't ever check anything down here. I just simply publish the overall results up. And if for some reason you need to clear or delete the results, you can click into one of those links and it clears the results on those platforms. And you can simply republish whenever you're ready. Final thing I'll say is I did put this here where it says need help, please read the tips and instructions. I'm going to encourage all new or people that are fairly new to using the program, maybe even if you're experienced, read through this at least once. This is something I put some thought into to like, okay, what is the core things people need to make sure they're comfortable doing before their first race? And so just kind of read through this to make sure you understand what it's saying. And I think if you read through this and you watch this video, you'll be able to get through your typical race with no problem. Now, this video is not covering, hey, how do I set up triathlons? How do I do, and the software can do all those things. There's a lot of people that use it for a lot of different things. This video is trying to cover someone that is brand new and they're doing a typical 5K, 10K, or something like that. So that's what this video is covering. I've got all kinds of video tutorials and help stuff out there. You'll see that every screen in the software has got little question mark buttons on every section. I thought someone might need help with, okay, what does this mean or what does that do? And so you see those all over the program, just about every list and every section. It's got that. There's also this watch video demo. So like on this screen, if I click here on basic info and I click the link, it's going to give me a video that covers just this screen. If I go to scoring and I click the link again, it's going to give me a YouTube video that covers everything that you need to know about this screen. And so there's video demos, links on almost all the screens. Here's that one. There's a video demo link on this one. There's also a built-in in-user designer where you can customize any report in the entire program. You can do the video demo to see how this screen works, but then if you actually view or try to design a report yourself, there's also a video demo option inside here. Sorry, it's taking a little bit to load. There it goes. You can click this video demo link up there and it tells you how to like add your own logo to the reports, or if you want to add sponsor names or whatever, all that's in here in the video demo. So I've tried to put help resources everywhere I can. Inside the help menu, you get access to the user's guide, which, user's guides are something that I try to keep updated, but, um, you know, it's not something I update every week. User's form is pretty important. You want to access that, and not just access it, but join it. That way you're informed whenever I push updates out. So that's there. The suggestions report, that's pretty handy. That's something that, especially if you're brand new and you're trying to like maybe start up your own timing company. I've got this question here that says starting your own timing company, but not sure how to do it. You can expand that out. It goes to page 2, so you have to be aware of that when you open it up. Go to page 2. And this kind of says, hey, here's how I do my billing. This is how I charge for mileage. This is how I charge for, what if it's multiple races or what if there's a really long duration. Now, I usually tell people that just like the timing systems, I charge on the timing services just enough to be worth my time and effort. I don't, most people charge more than I do. So you can take this and use it simply as a foundation to grow from and to charge more than I do really. But so there's that. What else in the help menu? This is where you see your file version number. So if you ever email me, needing help or like, hey, whatever, I might ask what file version number you're running, and that's where this is. And if I tell you, oh, you just need to download the newest update, then you can do that by clicking here and running the install as provided. Now, when you run this, by the way, your Chrome browser might tell you, oh, I don't know if I trust this file. You have to tell it to keep it, and then it'll download the file and then you can run it. The send messages, I don't ever come into here, but this is something. If you put your email credentials in the settings screen, or if you are a Endurance member and have the Twilio integration set up, you could actually text or email every participant that you've ever timed. Maybe you want to send out an announcement of an upcoming race, or you can send a message to either all participants of a particular race to inform them of any previous announcements or where to find results after the race. It allows for dynamic fields, and when you open up the text screen, you can actually compose a message, send it to a particular group of runners, let's say the Cinnamore 50K, and as you type the message, it's going to let you know how much that text is going to cost to send out to everyone. And so in this case, each text is going to be a fraction of a penny each. So 0.7 of a penny. This is going out to 96 participants of this particular race, and it's going to cost me 75, nearly 76 cents. And if this is a message that's a generic message, not really regarding results, I can say include only unique phone numbers only to drop the cost down some. The final screen we're going to look at is the settings screen. Here's where you're going to configure the software to have all your credentials, and to where you can specify, for example, if you do not own a Thinkific reader, you can say skip checking for USB readers. This also works for ThingMagic USB-powered readers. Most people simply have a traditional reader, like a 4-port or an 8-port reader. So they can check this box to tell the software not to bother looking for USB readers, and that simply speeds up the connection and the loading time of readers. The other recommended setting, which is on by default, is to use the lowest power setting when you're programming tags, or using the tag check feature or some of the other luxury features where you really want to pick up just one tag at a time. This drops your reader to the lowest power setting possible, which means it's only going to pick up the tags that are within an inch or two from the antenna. Now, on the timing screen, the software 100% always uses full power, even if you have this setting on, so no worries there. Many other settings that you see in this screen here really only make sense if you time cross-country races or if you're located outside the US. So those are things that you can learn more about by clicking the question mark button if you'd like to. I'm not going to go into those here because that would make the video very long. Inside the External Accounts tab, that's where you're going to set up all of your credentials so that you can access third-party vendors or online registration companies. The Printer and Camera tab is where you can add your company name. You can also select which printer you're going to bring to the race. The RFID Readers settings tab is where you're going to add your reader. Be sure to click on the plus button and then click on the help menu there under hostname to learn more about how to add your reader into the software. If you change the reader type, the help text will change also. Typically, I only put in the hostname. The IP address is optional. You only want to do that if you have static IP addresses set across your computers and your readers. Static IP addresses are more reliable, but most people, including myself, simply use the hostname. I've never had a problem. Most people aren't network savvy enough to do static IP addresses across their entire network. Finally, the Database Settings tab is where you can go to find your database file. And so you can point the software to any database file anywhere on your computer. If you were to reach out to me needing help, you can simply attach it to an email and send it to me. This file is typically less than 1 megabyte, so it's very easy to email. There's other settings here inside the settings screen, but in this video, I'm just trying to touch the highlights to help people get started. Finally, at the bottom of the screen, you can see my email and my phone number. Reach out if you have any questions or need any help. You can also access the video library here by clicking on this link.